No. In this chapter, the headlines, the broad headlines which I have taken here, which the topics which are going to basically discuss in this chapter are as follows. Okay. So we will be talking about how animals take in food by different methods. You see, the animal species is so large, and you see, not all the organisms have same method of taking their food. Okay, so different organisms have evolved differently, and they take their food from their nature in different ways. Okay, next we will be talking about human digestive system. Okay, so once human takes the food, okay, what are the process that goes inside the human body with that food? We will also study about the effect of saliva on starch present in food. You see, in our previous class, we discussed that plants makes carbohydrates. Plants makes basically glucose. Okay, and this glucose is converted into complex forms. Those complex forms were what? Remember, we talked about the starch,
Oil.
oil, vitamins. Okay, so in this chapter, we will have a look at what effect does this saliva, which is an enzyme released by salivary gland, what effect does it have the starch present on food? Next, we will be discussing about teeth and what is its type. So, you know, there are milk teeth and permanent teeth. Okay, and we will also discuss about tooth decay. Next, we will talk about tongue and its functions. Okay, then we have diarrhea. Okay, related to stomach. Now, some animals, you know, they are only grass eaters. That is the herbivorous. That is also called ruminants. And how digestion takes place in these herbivorous animals, especially grass-eating animals. And at last, we will be discussing about amoeba, how they feed and how digestion takes place in their body. So that is basically the brief of the topics which we will be covering in this chapter. Right, Mafaz? Or is
Yes,
there anything we have left? These are the topics we will be studying, right? Okay.
yes,
And for the questions, we will be referring to questions given in your NCERT. Okay. What the questions which I will be picking for this chapter, which we will be discussing in class, basically it will be from your NCERT textbook. Okay. And once we will cover this chapter, once the chapter will be finished, there will be a test for chapter 1 and chapter 2. Okay. That might be on Saturday or Friday or whenever day you are free. Okay. Now, let's talk about animal since the chapter is about nutrition in animals. So you see, in the previous chapter we have studied that plants can make their own food, but if we talk about animals, they cannot make their own food. That is, they are heterotrophic in nature, so they depend on plants and other animals for their food. Okay, so if we talk about nutrition in animal, so animal nutrition basically means that it is the process of taking in food by an animal and how this food is utilized in the body of the animal to derive energy from it. So that is what animal nutrition is about. What did I say? Animal nutrition comprises the mode of taking in the food in the body. Okay, and how body takes the nutritional requirement from that food, nutritional requirements of the body, and how animals can utilize their food. That is what we basically study in the study about nutrition in animals. Okay, so that we say that the process of taking food by animals and its utilization by the animal body is called animal nutrition. Okay, now one more thing to be noted here, that this animal can range from unicellular to multicellular. This animal which we are talking about, it may range from a unicellular organism to a multicellular organism. Okay. So this animal may range from unicellular to multicellular organism. Okay. Can you give an example of a unicellular organism?
A human.
Unicellular.
Unicellular. So unicellular is one.
Unicellular, those organisms which are made up of only one cell. Okay.
So the amoeba.
Amoeba. So amoeba is an example of a unicellular organism. And multicellular?
Human.
Humans. Okay. Now, since the nutrition which the plant takes, which the animal takes in the form of food, okay, it must go through some processes in the body of the animal. Okay, so there are some steps that takes place in the body of the animal. Okay, so those steps are mainly what? First thing you must have studied that when you take the food, when you eat the food, that is simply called as ingestion. Okay, and after ingestion, what happens? That food is digested in the body.
Digestion.
Yes, my first.
Yes.
What happens after digestion?
Absorption.
Absorption happens. Absorption of the food takes place, and after this,
Assimilation.
assimilation, right? Assimilation, and finally, it is released from the body. That is called what?
Egestion.
Egestion or excretion. Both are same. Excretion slash egestion. Okay. So if you even talk about unicellular, if you whether talk about unicellular or multicellular organism, you see the food goes through these steps in the body of whether we talk about unicellular or whether we talk about multicellular organism. Food has to go through these steps, right? Okay. Now, if we were to explain, if we were to study if we were to define basically each of the steps in one line, we will say that what is ingestion? The taking up of food. Okay. The taking of food is called what? Ingestion. Okay. And what happens in the next procedure? You see, the food which we eat, they are made up of very big particles. They are very big particles and they're not soluble, they are insoluble. Okay, so our body breaks that food into tiny pieces which are soluble in blood. Okay, so it is the process of breaking down of food. The process of breakdown of large particles of food in soluble form. Okay, so the food which we take in, it has to be broken down into smaller pieces so that our body can absorb it. Okay, next thing is absorption. It is basically that step in which the digested food is absorbed by the body of humans. So basically what happens, the food which we take in, it basically passes through our intestines where from where it goes into our blood stream. Okay, the process in which the digested food goes to where? Goes through intestinal wall, goes through the walls of intestines, right, my first?
Yes.
Goes through walls of intestines. Okay, and then into blood stream. Okay, blood stream basically means to our to the nerves, to the flow of blood, it basically reaches there. Okay. Okay, Now, what about assimilation then? What will be happening in this one?
Uh,
Yes, what about assimilation? It is that step, you see, in which basically the food is being, the absorbed food is being basically taken up by the cells, and the cells uses those absorbed food for energy, for growth, and for repair work. Okay. The
yes.
absorbed food is taken by cells for energy, growth, and repair. Okay. And finally, the waste material which is left, that is simply excreted by the excretory organ in the animals. Right, Mafaz?
Yes.
That is called excretion. Okay. The process in which solid and liquid waste is excreted from body, to be specific, from animal body. Okay, so that is in brief the basically the 5 steps through which food goes into the body of the animal. Okay, now we are going to talk about the first thing, that is animals take in food by different methods. Okay, a starfish takes his nutrition in different way, an ant eats food in different way, a human eats food in different way, a snail eats food in different way. Similarly, if you were to compare a snake eating its prey and a human eating his food, his or her food, don't you notice some difference in them? Like, we bite our food, we chew our food. Does the snake also chews the food? Does it also breaks it into smaller pieces and then eat it?
No, sir.
No, it basically engulfs the whole animal, right? So different animals have different methods of eating their food. Okay, that is different ways of taking the food. Have a look at the diagram here. Have a look at this table. See this snail. Okay, what does it do? It basically eats grasses. This snail eats grasses. And how does this snail eats the grasses? See, I've got a diagram of a snail here also. This snail. In the figure, you can see this snail is basically breaking this leaf into pieces, into crumbs, and then eating it. Right? See how this snail is basically chewing the leaf here. Right, Mufaz?
Yes.
And if you were to talk about the ants, you will see the ants, they basically, what they do, they also basically choose the food. They choose the food, and by the method of scrapping, they eat their food. Okay, these are the ants here. And if you see hummingbird, a hummingbird has got a very long beak. Beak, basically,
Yes.
if I were to draw the diagram of a hummingbird, it has got a beak like this. Okay, okay, that's a rough diagram. Okay, let's say this is a hummingbird here. Hummingbird. Look at its beak. So this hummingbird has got a very long beak, and they survive by eating nectars from flowers, and basically they takes up the juicy material from the flowers, that is called nectar. Okay, so they basically suck the liquid from the flowers, and from the food which and the food which they eat, they basically suck the liquid from that. So it has got a very long beak. Okay, and what about the lice? See the third figure here, that is a diagram of a lice. It also sucks the blood. It also sucks the blood of the human scalp, right? This is actually a human scalp. You know what is human scalp?
Yes.
Yeah. So this lice basically feeds blood from the human scalp. So it also does the work of sucking. Via sucking, this lice sucks up the blood from the skin of the scalp. Okay. Now what about mosquito? Mosquito also sucks up the blood from the human skin. Okay. They have got a tube-like mouth. Okay. If I were to draw diagram of a mosquito here, let's say these are the eyes. Okay. The mosquito has got a very long tube-like structure. That is the mouth of the mosquito. And via this mouth, the mosquito basically sucks up the blood. Okay. And what about housefly? Housefly takes up the food via brewing. Okay. And they basically feed on decaying matter. Okay. See the diagram of this butterfly here. Okay. Can you see the mouth of the butterfly here in the second figure?
Yes.
You can see how it has got a very long mouth. Okay. This is a zoomed image of the mouth of a butterfly. And you see the mouth of the butterfly is called proboscis. Okay. And via their proboscis, they basically suck up the nectar from the flower. Okay. So butterfly takes their food by the method of sucking. Okay, by the method of sucking as mentioned here. Right, Mafaz?
Yes.
Okay. Now there are few interesting animals found in nature. Some other animals which will just amaze you to note how they take up their food. Like if I talk about a hydra. Okay. Ever heard about hydra? This
No,
is a
sir.
diagram of a diagram. Hydra is basically an animal. Okay. Or it is an aquatic animal. It's more proper to say an aquatic animal. What does aquatic mean?
Sir, underwater.
Underwater. So you see, this hydra looks like this, and it has got uh, structures around its mouth that are called tentacles. You see these things here. Okay, these things are called what? They're called tentacles. Okay, tentacles are basically its limbs. It acts as its limbs, its hands. Okay, so what happens when a prey comes nearby the tentacles? Okay, tentacles, you got it, what I'm talking about. This
Yes.
thread like thing attached to its mouth. Okay, this top is its mouth. Okay, now when a prey comes nearby the tentacles, what this hydra does, it traps the prey with the help of its tentacles, and it basically starts to feed poisonous material into the body of the prey. Okay, my fast. It starts
Yes.
to inject poisonous material into the body of the into the body of the prey, and the prey dies there. And what happens after the prey has died? They basically swallow the prey. In the figure C, you can see the prey has been swallowed by this hydra. Okay, so that is how hydra, which is an aquatic animal, takes up the nutrition. Okay, Mafaz, give me a minute. I have an important urgent call coming. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, can you see me? Am I visible?
No, sir.
I'm not visible.
No.
Okay, okay, just give me a minute. I guess I haven't connected from the laptop. Yes, Mufaz, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Unfortunately, the device was not connected. That's why you were not able to see me. Okay, I just saw that. Okay, so I was talking about this hydra, which is an aquatic animal. You see, it has got tentacles attached to its mouth. Okay, and what happens when a prey comes nearby this tentacle? It basically entraps that. It injects poisonous juices into the body of the prey. The prey dies, and then afterwards it engulfs the prey. Okay, so that what happens in the hydra. Now, another interesting aquatic animal here is, what is its name?
Starfish.
That is a starfish. Okay. Now, any idea how a starfish takes its food?
No, sir.
Okay. No idea.
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. You see, if you were to talk about starfish, this starfish basically what it does. First thing you need to know that it is a sea animal. That is obvious. Okay. And what this starfish does, whenever a prey comes nearby to this starfish, it basically entraps. It basically covers the body of the prey with its body. It basically entraps the prey. Okay. And afterwards, what this starfish does, it basically takes out his stomach from his mouth. Okay. And then it starts to inject basically those enzymes to the body of the prey, and it basically digests the prey and then eats it. Okay, let me draw a diagram, then it will be more clear. Okay, so let's say there's a snail here. Okay, let's say this is a snail here. That is a snail here. Now, what happens if this starfish comes near to this snail? It will basically entrap the body of the snail like this. Okay, it will cover the whole snail. Okay, and it will basically start to take out its stomach. Okay, see this red diagram which I am drawing here, it's, you can consider it the stomach of starfish here. This is stomach of starfish. Okay, so you see this starfish has taken out its stomach via its mouth, and it basically inserted that it's inserted that stomach into the body of the snail, and now via its stomach it will release harmful enzymes that will basically start to digest the body of the snail and then engulf it, the body of the snail. Got it, Mafaz?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So from this discussion, you see it is clear that there are many different methods via which animals takes up their food. Okay. Now, after this comes a most important part that is called digestion. Okay. We discussed about the modes of food taking in different organisms. Now let's talk about digestion. What goes in this process? Okay. We are basically discussing about the second step here, that is digestion. Okay. Okay. Now, you see, our food consists of so many substances. Like there are carbohydrate in it, there are fats in it, proteins in it. There are a small amount of minerals and vitamins also present in our food. Okay. Now you see, these are very large insoluble particles present in our food, and they cannot be directly digested by our body. So they need to pass through the walls of our intestine. Okay. And what happens there, they get absorbed as much as possible. There they get absorbed. Okay. So before the food is being utilized by our body for growth, for repair work, and many other things, you see, it basically has to become in soluble form. Okay. So we say that our body, yeah, the food which we consume is made up of what? This my first carbohydrates, right?
Yes.
Okay, that is in the form of starch, fats, okay, proteins, and a small amount of vitamins and minerals. Small amounts of vitamins and minerals. Okay, and all these things are large insoluble particles. Okay, and which are large insoluble particles. Okay, so first they needs to be broken down. Okay, so first let's say you eat this piece of food, okay, which consists of large insoluble particles, so it needs to be broken down into smaller pieces, into very smaller pieces. Okay, so that breakdown basically happens where? The
Stomach.
breakdown of food starts from, no, the first breakdown of of food starts from mouth. Okay, the digestion, the procedure of digestion, when we will discuss that in detail in human body, it basically starts from mouth. Okay, where the bigger chunks of food are basically grinded in our mouth. Okay, and saliva which is being released by salivary gland mixes with it. Okay, and there what happens, you see, it is basically gets broken down into smaller pieces, and then it passes through our food pipe, and then it gets where it, then it goes to stomach. From mouth it goes to stomach, and after stomach it goes to our intestine. Okay, so now in intestine, from being insoluble while while we were eating it, it was in insoluble form, and then when it reached to intestine it became soluble. It acquired a soluble form. Okay, so the journey of food basically starts from our mouth, then it goes to our intestine where it becomes in soluble form, which can now which basically passes through the walls of the intestine, and which can be absorbed by the absorbed by the walls of the intestine and used up for growth, repair, and other purposes. Okay,
Yes.
so the method of digestion in this thing, you will see both things, two things are happening here. You see, we use basically both physical and chemical methods for digesting our food. So when we talk about digestion, we see that we use physical and chemical methods. Physical method, chemical method. So what happens in the physical method? It basically starts from our mouth where the food is chewed, food is being chewed, it is being grinded. Okay, and in the chemical method what happens, various enzymes and juices released from the human body acts upon the food and does chemical action on it. So there is action of enzymes, okay, and digestive juices, and digestive juices which acts on the food and breaks it further. So remember this, chemical method and physical method. Okay, now after the food has been digested, it basically passes to other parts of the digestive tract, right? Okay, now before we even discuss about the human digestive system, there's one more thing you need to know about, that is alimentary canal. Any idea about it? What does alimentary canal consist of?
No, sir.
Look, alimentary canal, it basically is a long tube which basically runs from the mouth to anus of an animal, or or it can be of human beings or any other animal. Okay, in which basically the digestion and absorption of food takes place. Okay, have a look at this diagram here. Look, this long tube which basically starts from mouth. Okay, this long tube which basically starts from mouth. Okay, and continues till the anus. Okay, and continues till the anus. That is simply called what? The alimentary canal, where the food passes. Okay, where the food passes from our mouth and it gets released from the anus. That is simply called what? The alimentary canal. Okay, so alimentary canal, it is basically what? It is a long tube running from mouth to anus of an animal, human being. Okay, where it gets digested and absorbed, where it gets digested and absorbed. So that is simply called an alimentary canal. Okay, now there are other names of alimentary canal also, that is known as gut or digestive tract also. Okay, so we say that alimentary canal is also called gut or digestive tract. Any idea, Mafaz, why we are calling it digestive tract?
Sir, because it is the tract of digestion.
Yes, exactly. Because it is the tract where the digestion of food takes place. And normally in human body, the length is 8 to 9 meter. The length of alimentary canal in human body is how much?
8 to 9 meters.
Yeah. In human body is 8 to 9 meter. In a grown adult, not in a child. Okay, in a grown adult. Okay. Okay. Now, an important thing to know about what is alimentary canal made up of. What are the parts which makes up the alimentary canal? Okay, so the parts of alimentary canal are as follows. Okay, parts of alimentary canal. Now you tell me, what are the parts of alimentary canal? Mafaz, any idea what are the parts of alimentary canal? You can take help from this diagram here. Okay, what are the different parts of alimentary canal?
Mouth, salivary glands.
Mouth, and then
Sir, mouth, salivary glands.
no, glands are not part of the alimentary canal. Remember, always remember this thing, that alimentary canal, the word itself defines is that it is a canal. A canal, okay, which is a tube like a structure here. Okay, so there has to be a passage. Okay, so glands are
Sir,
not going to be part of it. Yes,
esophagus,
esophagus, that is the food pipe. Very good.
stomach,
Food pipe, and then the stomach, and
large intestine.
then first you have, first is small intestine. After small intestine comes large intestine. So small intestine and then
Large intestine.
large intestine. Okay, and then large intestine. Okay, very good. And there are two things which you left here. There is rectum also, right? And there is anus also. So the parts of alimentary canal are as follows. Okay, so the first one which call about, that is mouth. Another name of mouth is also buccal cavity, right?
Yes.
So mouth, the cavity is basically the gap area which basically is in our mouth. That whole region is called what? Buccal cavity. Okay. Then another one is food pipe. Okay, or
Esophagus.
esophagus, or esophagus. Very good. Now the third one is
Stomach.
stomach. After stomach comes large intestine or small intestine?
Small intestine.
Small intestine. Okay. And then you have
Large intestine.
large intestine. Then you have got large intestine. Okay. Okay, not enough space here. So we will write here. And after large intestine comes rectum and
Anus.
rectum and
Anus.
anus. Okay. So you see, an alimentary canal is basically made up of 7 parts, which we have seen here. Okay. Now, you see, if it were to talk about the glands which are associated with the alimentary canal, what are the different glands? If we talk about mouth, in mouth there is a gland attached associated with the alimentary canal. What do we call that gland? That is the salivary gland. That is the salivary gland. Okay. Okay. Now, if you move on further, what are the other glands which are attached with the alimentary canal? Liver and pancreas, right? So if you move on further, you will notice that there are other glands also. Okay, what are they?
Liver, pancreas.
Yeah, they are liver and pancreas. Now, what are the function of these glands? Yes, Mafaz, what work do they do?
That salivary glands, they change starch into sugar.
Very good. And what about other glands? Livers and pancreas? They basically breaks down the food. They basically converts the complex substances into simpler substances, right? That is the function of glands here. Okay. Now, you see an important question which basically arises here, that how does food moves in this alimentary canal? Okay. How does food moves across this alimentary canal? So to know that, you see the food basically starts move in our alimentary canal via a movement, via a special movement. Do you know the name of that special movement?
No, sir.
Okay, let's discuss that. How food moves in alimentary canal. Okay, so you see the food moves in the alimentary canal via a special motion or movement called peristalsis movement. Remember the name. What does it what do we call that?
Peristalsis.
Peristalsis movement.
Peristalsis.
Okay. Now peristalsis is basically it's a wave like motion. Okay, which is caused by the contraction and relaxation of the muscles of alimentary canal. What did I say? That peristalsis is caused by alternate contraction and relaxation. Alternate contraction and relaxation of the
Muscles.
muscles of the alimentary canal. Right.
Yes.
Okay. So there is an alternate contraction and relaxation of muscles. So the muscles will first they will contract like this. Okay. And then they will be relaxed. Again, they will contract like this. And then they will be relaxed. and the food particle will be passing like this. Okay, just move fast. The food
Yes.
particle will get passed like this. That is a food particle here. Okay, and where are these? One more thing to be understood here is that you see the mouth cavity by which the food is taken into the alimentary canal and chewed, which you already know that is called buccal cavity. And apart from that, you will see that mm, what I was basically going to discuss is that if we were to have a look at the alimentary canal here, you see this, that is the buccal cavity. From here, your food moves into your mouth, and all the way through which the food is moving, it experiences peristalsis movement. Okay, so in the esophagus, that is the food pipe,
Mhm.
in the food pipe, there is continuous contraction and relaxation of muscles via which the food is passing. Okay, via which the food is passing. Right, Mufaz?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the most important part of the chapter, that is the human digestive system, which we are going to discuss about. Human digestive system. Okay. What do you mean by human digestive system of us?
So the system so the place where the food is digested.
The place where the system where basically the food gets digested. That is the human digestive system. Okay. And since we are talking about the digestive system in humans, hence the name human digestive system. Okay. So here what happens? Food is digested. Okay. And digested and absorbed food is removed. Digested and, or you see, or we can simply call absorbed food is removed. Okay, absorb, or let's to be more specific, we can say that unabsorbed portion of food is removed. Okay, unabsorbed portion of food is removed here. Okay, now let's have a look at the organs which basically forms the human digestive system. Okay, organs slash glands which constitutes human digestive system. Now, as of now, you must already be familiar with what are the organs and glands which helps in the digestion of food. What are they?
So salivary gland,
Yes, Mufaz?
salivary gland,
No, first you need to start from sequence. Have a sequence in this. First is going to be mouth. Okay, that we also called as
no, buccal cavity,
buccal cavity. Then you have what? Esophagus.
salivary gland,
After this,
stomach,
okay, stomach. Okay, and then
small intestine,
small intestine. Small intestine. And then you have,
large intestine,
yeah, then we have
rectum,
rectum and
anus.
anus. So basically, this is the alimentary canal here. And along with alimentary canal, you have got glands also. Okay. So glands, the main glands which you have to study about, they are salivary gland. Okay. And then you have got pancreas. Okay. And then you have liver. Okay, so these are the three different glands which basically secretes their juices into the alimentary canal. Okay, okay. Now, if you were to talk about the location of these glands, let's have a look at that. We were to talk about salivary gland. Where is salivary gland located?
in our mouth.
In our mouth. Okay, and salivary gland exists in three pairs. There are three pairs of salivary gland. Okay, they exist in a pair of three. So there are the number of salivary gland. If someone asks you, you say there are three salivary glands present in our mouth. Okay, and they are present in where? They are located in our mouth or the buccal cavity. So we say that salivary gland are located in our mouth. That is the buccal cavity. Okay. Now, what is the secretion of salivary gland?
Huh?
What is the secretion of salivary gland? Saliva, right? They secrete saliva. Okay. And what about liver then? What does liver secrete? Yes, Mufaz? And where is it present?
So in your
If
stomach.
in the stomach. In the stomach or above the stomach? Look,
No, above the stomach.
this is the diagram of liver here. Okay, that is your liver here. Okay, and that is actually a reddish brown looking structure, reddish brown in color. Okay, this is a reddish brown gland which is situated in the upper part of our abdomen. Okay, or we can say, if you see, it is actually located on the right side of our body. Okay, on the right side of the abdomen actually. Okay, so abdomen, basically the stomach along with the lower part, that is called abdomen. The stomach along with the intestines, that is called abdomen. So it is located above the abdomen. This liver is located above the abdomen. Okay, so we say that liver, it is located above the abdomen. Okay, on the right side. Okay, another fact about the liver is that it secretes bile juice. It secretes bile juice. Okay, so if someone asks you what are the juice secreted, what are the digestive juice secreted by enzyme, there is only one, that is the bile juice. Okay, and another thing is that it is the largest gland present in human body. It is the largest gland in human body. Okay, now which one is the third gland which we were discussing about?
Cell, pancreas.
Pancreas, that is pancreas. Okay, see where the pancreas is located. The pancreas is located where? See the
Un-
diagram here.
Under the
This,
stomach.
yeah, behind the stomach. Okay, this here is the actually pancreas here. Okay, and pancreas, it basically secretes pancreatic juices. Okay, and further you will study in senior classes that pancreas secretes three types of different digestive juices. Okay, you see pancreas secretes digestive juices. Okay, in the stomach. Okay, Mufas.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in next class, we will discuss about a new thing, that is ducts, water ducts. Okay, you see, basically, ducts are the pipes through which various glands opens into the alimentary canal. So, like if you talk about this pancreas or this liver, let's say this is a liver and this is a alimentary canal over here. So, if this liver has to secrete the bile juice into the alimentary canal, it has got ducts which are basically pipes. So through that pipe, this secretes their juices into the alimentary canal. Okay, so from ducts we will start in the next class. Okay, that's it for today. So today we basically, if we were to conclude what we have discussed,